So today I thought I would film kind of a little tour of the LM Montgomery books that I own, particularly the older editions. So a subscriber, Rebecca Taft, inspired me to do this sooner rather than later, so thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, here is my current bookshelf with all things LM Montgomery. I'm so sorry if this is shaky here. So, yeah, I'm excited to get into it. Okay, so here is my classic box set. It's got this drawing from the 80s on the side. I believe this edition is from the 90s. Yeah, there's Anne sitting at the railroad station. There's that famous drawing. So yeah, this is the complete series. We've got book 1, Anne of Green Gables. Let's see, this is by Bantam Books. So that's what this edition is. They've done many editions over the years. You probably have some in this edition. So yeah, there's Anne of Green Gables. Sorry about the shine there. I have to hold it up like that. So that is the original 8 in that Bantam Books edition. So now here I've got some more 80s and 90s editions of some of her other novels. So you'll notice that in the 80s and 90s there was a resurgence of LM Montgomery's works being published, and that is largely due to the Kevin Sullivan TV adaptation with Megan Follows, who is my namesake, by the way, although my name is pronounced Megan. Further Chronicles of Avonlea was originally published without LM Montgomery's consent by one of her publishing companies who was kind of trying to sue her and swindle her. That, however, was not the company that published these editions. These are Seal Books, McClelland Bantam Inc. So McClelland was her good publisher who took over after her bad publisher tried to swindle her. Short stories, which I've talked about elsewhere. The Road to Yesterday was actually originally going to be a novel, and that novel was The Blythes Are Quoted. So this is the sanitized version that was published in the late 70s. This is the actual version she wanted, published in 2009. And if you want to hear more about that, check out my book haul on the Brontes and LM Montgomery, and I will link that below. My next guest needs no introduction. It's LM Montgomery and War. I did a whole video on this. I'll link it below. Loved this book. I'm sorry if that was so loud. I underlined everything. Loved it. By Andrea Mackenzie, edited by Andrea Mackenzie and Jane Ledwell. So good. Absolutely recommend it. Here's my word cloud edition of Anne of Green Gables. I absolutely love these word cloud editions. I just think they're so beautiful. I would love to get all my classics in this edition, but no, that's not realistic, so I will just cherish this one. It's a funny story goes with this edition. So I was thinking about auditioning for Anne of Green Gables. I really wanted to play Anne. I thought I was too old and too tall to play an 11-year-old girl, but I just felt like God was calling me to audition for it. I felt like he was like, this is your #1 bucket list role. It's time you played her. So about 2 days before I was going to audition, a friend of mine, she had no idea I was going to audition. She didn't know that a production of Anne of Green Gables was coming up. She just gave me a present because she's a lovely person, and she gave me this, Anne of Green Gables, and I was like, oh my goodness, you don't even know that I'm about to go audition. So I auditioned, I nailed it, and I got the part and played my dream role. Now, this edition of Rilla of Ingleside was given to me by my wonderful cousins, Naomi over at Naomi's Bookshelf, and Elise, who you'll also see on Naomi's Bookshelf if you go check that out. The reason why they gave this to me is because I produced a show called Rilla of the Island, which is an adaptation of this book. Due to trademark rules, I had to change the title, but it wouldn't break any copyright rules if I used the actual script as it is in the public domain. So this is very special to me, this edition as well as the story. I have literally lived and breathed Rilla of Ingleside. I helped adapt it, produced it, starred in it, marketed it. I lived and breathed this for, I think it took 2 years of my life to produce it. So I absolutely love it. Along with Anne of Green Gables, Rilla was another bucket list role of mine. And now for what you've all been waiting for, the old editions. First though, this isn't exactly an old edition, it is a replica first edition of Anne of Green Gables. I've never been able to find an actual first edition, but yeah, I ordered it through the Anne of Green Gables store, I think it's called, and it is signed, not by Anne of Green Gables, but by, I can't read the first name, last name is Campbell though, so Anne of Green Gables. I'm reading Anne of Green Gables and saying that instead of LM Montgomery. LM Montgomery was very close with her Campbell cousins. So, yeah, he is a descendant of her Campbell cousins. And yeah, they run the Anne of Green Gables Society. And yeah, so it's really fun to have this replica of the original and to see, like, you know, the way her red hair is and the way it's a bun, even though she's only 11 to 14 years old in this edition. But I remember reading in her journals that LM Montgomery was quite satisfied with this original. Now for real, what you've all been waiting for. Here are some actual first editions. I love this one, Anne of Avonlea. Look at that. It's just gorgeous. 1909, this was published. And to Bertha from, what does that say? Esmeralda, something or other, her teacher, Christmas 1918. So this would have been given right after World War I ended, and it's neat that it was given by her teacher because this book is all about Anne when she was a teacher, and she actually dedicated it to her own teacher, Hattie McDonald. What is it? I'm so terrible. I should know her name. Hattie Gordon Smith. I was getting her mixed up with Hattie McDaniel, who plays Mammy in Gone with the Wind. No, Hattie Gordon Smith. So it's just so beautiful and like old and decrepit, and I have to be so careful with it, but I absolutely love it. This is probably my favorite one. I saw this edition also on Instagram. Somebody else had this edition, not quite as decrepit as mine. Anne's House of Dreams. I think it's gorgeous. I was actually given it when I was in Anne of Green Gables. The director gave this to me and I was so grateful. Here we've got Anne of Ingleside. Anne of Ingleside by McClelland and Stewart. We've got Rainbow Valley, also by McClelland and Stewart. So these ones are a bit more plain. Then I'll show you all my other editions of Rilla of Ingleside because I love Rilla of Ingleside. We've got this one. This is the same edition, different color. So my mom gave this to me. A friend of mine gave this to me when I was producing Rilla. This is what the actual cover would look like. I think these two were probably published about a year later. This is what the actual cover would have looked like. And I was given this is a postcard. I was given this by someone who came and saw the show, and she wrote me and said, I just loved it so much. And so that was really nice of her. I really appreciated that. So yeah, those are all my beautiful, gorgeous old editions that I'm absolutely in love with, and if I can ever find more, I will definitely get more. Although, yeah, you can get them for not that much money if you look in the right places, although it might be easier here in Canada. So if you don't live in Canada, I'm so sorry, you'll have to come visit me here. So yeah, those are all my editions of LM Montgomery's works. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, I would love to interact with fellow Anne fans or soon-to-be Anne fans in the comments below. Thank you for the idea for this video, Rebecca. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I hope you're all doing well. May you be filled with peace, hope, love, and joy. So take care, everyone. Bye.